Hey, what's up guys, it's James Diamond here, and welcome back to another FL Studio 11 tech tip here on Sonic Academy. In this episode we're going to be looking at how to create the kind of classic Daft Punk style vocoder which they possibly made famous in some of their tracks. Before we jump into it, let's have a listen to what we're working with, and then we'll have a look at how to do the technique. So as you can hear, it was quite a nice subtle kind of sound. It wasn't exactly as strong as maybe Daft Punk might use, but I thought for this track it needed quite more of a subtle kind of vocoder effect. So obviously the track that we were working with is the kind of progressive house track that I was showing you in one of the previous episodes when we created these wet vocals and how to use the trigger to send reverb and delay. So let's have a look and see how we do the technique. First of all, it's split into three different parts. We have the dry vocals rather than the wet vocals, as I wanted to make sure that there was no reverb and delay kind of affecting the sound. So I've rendered out the dry vocals. So that is part one, and that is called the modulator. And then we have the second part, which is the carrier, the vocoder carrier, and that is created using a synth, and it is MIDI. And then the final step is actually using the vocoder plugin. So first of all, let's just reset this up, and I'll link the vocals back to a new channel and rename it vocal modulator. And then in order to set up the carrier, I've simply inserted a clean patch of Silent. So let's just redo that again. So I'm just going to clone it, but all you need to do is when you open it for the first time, we just need to take it back to the kind of insert flat kind of default sound. So we just go to preset, we hit insert, and it kind of clears all of the settings. We then just want to turn the poly up a bit, maybe to 8 or 10, just to make sure that when we select a chord within the piano roll, it plays all of the notes. And these are the notes which I'm using to control the vocoder. So the vocoder, the actual way that the vocoder works and the way that it produces a sound is that we're using MIDI to control it. So these notes in the chords are what you're actually going to hear when the vocal is singing, rather than the actual vocal melody itself. So I'm just going to copy these over. And these are the exact same chords that I used for the stab, the kind of dead mouse sound pluck in the original track. So I'm just going to go link that to a new channel. And let's just have a quick listen to what that sounds like. So nothing special, but we're not actually going to hear that sound. We're simply using it as the MIDI kind of input into the vocoder. So then that's the next step. Let's add Vocodex, which is FL Studio's native vocoder. And then we need to link our modulator and our carrier to the vocoder channel. In order to do that, we need to click onto the modulator. We then need to right click onto the vocoder channel, and we need to hit sidechain to this track only. And then we do the same for the carrier. And now they are both linked to the vocoder channel. But as you'll see, I'll press play. And we can't hear anything. There's no sound coming out of the vocoder channel yet. So in order to allow the sound to come through, we need to go up to this top section here. This is the kind of routing for the vocoder. And as you can see here, we've got a modulator with a picture of some lips to show that this is the channel for the vocals. And then we've got the carrier here, CAR, which has got the picture of the keyboard to show that it's for the synth. And as we sent the modulator, the vocals first, when we right-clicked onto the channel and hit side change to this track only, as we did that first, we make this number 1, and the carrier the second time. Now let's have a listen to this.
I can't seem to let go away.
So now we have the vocoder set up and ready to go. So let's have a look at a couple of the settings to see what we can do with it. This first dial here, this is used to allow more of the original vocal through. So as I pull this up and down, you'll start to hear the original vocal being put on top of the synthesized vocal.
I can't seem to let go away. I'm hypnotized by you.
So that's quite nice if you want to allow some of the original vocal to come through. There's also the high pass filter here, so currently it's set quite high. I'll start to bring this down and then we'll start to hear more of the mid and lows come through on the vocal.
I can't seem to let go away. I'm hypnotized by you.
So obviously you can play around with that and change it to how you see fit. Then we've got the carrier, and this allows the carrier synth to come through.
I can't seem to let go away. I'm hypnotized by.
However, it seems kind of pointless. Maybe there's a certain time that you might need to use that, but for the purpose of this track, we are not going to do that. Maybe let's add in some of the vocal though.
I can't seem to let go away. I'm hypnotized.
Gives that kind of half synthesized, half vocal effect. And then we've got the Sound Goodizer plugin, which is built into Vocoder, and we can just up the amount.
I can't seem to let go away. I'm hypnotized.
So that sounds quite nice, maybe just bring it down a bit more. Over here in this section controls kind of the pitch of the actual sound itself. So I'll start to move this to left and right and you can see and hear what that does.
I can't seem to let go away. I'm hypnotized by you.
So turning it to the right kind of ups the pitch, turning it down to the left kind of makes it a little bit lower. In this section here we've got some unison, so we can add some extra voices to the sound.
I can't seem to look away. I'm hypnotized by you.
So that kind of makes it a bit thicker, but I'm going to leave that down for the time being. Then just have a look at the order. Moving it to the left creates a more kind of synthesized effect. Moving it to the right creates a bit more of a natural kind of sound.
I can't seem to look away. I'm hypnotized by you.
So it really depends what you want, but I'm going to leave it on number 2 for the time being. There's some other effects here that you can have a look at, I think, in your own time. But for the time being, this is really the kind of standard setup that we want to use. So let's have a listen to see how that sits in the mix at the moment.
I can't seem to let go away. I'm hypnotized by you. I'm hanging on what you say.
So it sounds quite nice, it fits quite well in the mix, but as you can hear that there's a couple of kind of part sections where the sound, the volume wasn't very consistent. Because we're modulating the sound, it's not really keeping the very consistent level. So in order to smooth that out, we're just going to add a couple of effects and we're going to use some compression. So I'm just going to use the FG Red by Slate Digital. I'm going to set this to a 4:1 ratio, bring the release down a bit, and then I'll bring back on the threshold. And I'm looking to maybe compress by about 4 to 5 dB.
I can't seem to let go away. I'm hypnotized by you.
So that's kind of smoothed out those louder sections in the middle there. And I'm just going to add one more compressor, just to stack it, just to give an extra bit of smoothing out.
I can't seem to look away. I'm hypnotized by you. I'm hanging on to what you say. I'm hypnotized by you.
So that sounds quite nice, just kind of smoothed out all of those extra peaks. I'm just going to turn the makeup gain up just a tiny bit.
I can't seem to look away. I'm hypnotized by you.
So there we go, really smoothed that out. A nice kind of stacked compression technique in there for you also. I'm next going to add an EQ because I feel that there's quite a bit of kind of mid to low going on that I don't really want to hear.
I can't seem to look away. I'm hypnotized by you. I'm hanging on to what you say. I'm hypnotized by you.
So that sounded a lot better. We've really smoothed out the sounds and just taken away some of the kind of resonant frequencies in the mid to low range. And I'm just going to add some reverb and delay to it as well. I just need to reset the inputs.
I can't seem to look away. I'm hypnotized by you. I'm hanging on to what you say. I'm hypnotized by you.
So that's pretty much it. A very nice kind of vocoder type effect. I think it sounds quite nice for this track. Doesn't sound too out of place. But what I've done, I've actually kept the original vocals in. I had these turned off there. But I'm going to turn them back on, and we've kind of merged the original vocals with the vocoder.
I can't seem to look away. I'm hypnotized by you. I'm hanging on to what you say. I'm hypnotized by you.
So there we go. I think that sounds really nice. It really kind of helps us to add to the track, and it's a very cool technique. You might want to try it out on different types of vocals. So for example, these are actually singing a kind of very melodic kind of vocal line. Maybe then try it out with something which is a bit more monotone, the way that I'm speaking right now, where it's kind of more of a single tone voice when someone's speaking. Then it will actually be able to kind of control using the carrier. You won't have to do chords, you can actually do single notes. And the vocal, when they're speaking in a more of a single kind of monotone style, it will help the actual sound, the vocals, to move up in the scale. You can use single notes rather than using chords. So that's it for this episode. I hope you like this little technique. Give it a try, see what you think, and I'll see you in another video. Cheers.
Thanks everybody for watching, commenting and indeed liking. We really do appreciate all the support we get here on our Sonic Academy YouTube channel. So if you found this video super useful, please, we'd love you to hit the subscribe button. We update the YouTube channel every week with new content. And if you want to watch some more relevant content, just click on the videos beside me.